What's going on? My name is Matthew. I'm the studio lead at Fallen Signal, and in this video, we are going to be setting up a metahuman. Now, metahumans are fairly complex, but they're simple enough when you get the workflow down. It's just a matter of playing nice with the way that Unreal wants you to make them. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our Epic Games launcher. We are just going to launch the engine. I'm going to be doing this from a blank project, but obviously if you have a project that you want to do this in, it will work just fine. So a couple quick notes about metahumans is that you will need to have installed from this drop down. Of course, it just disappeared. The metahuman creator content data. It's about 7 gigabytes. If you do not have that installed to your engine, this will not work. And so make sure that you have that downloaded and present in your engine before you continue with this video. I'm going to go ahead and pause right here, and then when this is done loading, I'll jump back in. All right, so now we are here in 5.7. So what we're going to do is we are just going to do a new project here. And in here, we're just going to do the third person, and then we're just going to call this metahuman example. There we go. And then it is going to make our project. All right, and the first thing that you're going to need to do when you are in your new blank project or in your current project is you're going to need to come over here to plugins. You're going to need to do metahuman. You're going to need to activate just do them all except for this deprecated one because they have dependencies. If it asks you are you sure you want to do this, just hit yes, 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 and yes, and then restart. All right, great. So we are back in our project here. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to come over here to our content drawer. We are going to go into characters. You can put this wherever it makes sense for you, but we're just going to make a new folder. Call it metahuman characters. Go in here. And then, after you've installed those plugins, if you right-click in your content browser, go over here to metahuman, and you're going to select metahuman character. And then we'll just do MHC example, or whoever you want to call it. Then it's going to think about its life. There we go. Save. Open this up. And then it's going to ask you to enable missing project settings. You just want to enable missing. Boop. And we'll just drag this up here. We'll save again. And then it's going to ask you to restart again. So we will restart again. All right, and we are back again. I know this seems like a bit of an arduous process, but again, it's all about playing by Unreal's rules of the way that they want you to do this. So we're going to come back over here, find our metahuman character. Now that we have enabled and restarted and done all the things that it wants us to do, it should open up no problem. Now you have several presets over here of different things that you can, different starting characters. We'll just go ahead and just pick the first one here, Ada. And that's going to load in. And there we have our metahuman. And now this is going to be going over how to, I'm not necessarily going to go into how to customize your metahuman here. This is more of how metahumans work within the level themselves. Maybe I'll do a separate tutorial later on how to customize your metahumans. For now, just for the purposes of example, maybe I'll just change your hair. And there we go. Our metahuman is ready to go. So what you'll need to do now is in here in assemble, you'll see characters not rigged. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit create full rig, and then it's going to go over here and it's going to say auto rigging face mesh. And this is basically applying the metahuman skeleton to this mesh so that you can animate it and do all the different things that you want to do with it. If it appears as failed, you want to make sure that you have a good internet connection, but also a lot of times it'll say that it failed, but it really worked. So fret not. But we're just going to wait for that to finish. Alrighty, and it finished rigging correctly. So then, if you just come back over here to hair and materials, and then come back here to assemble, say it's missing textures. Please download the textures. Alright, so then we're going to download the textures. Alright, and it is downloading the face textures, and we are done. Fantastic. So now, if we click off of assemble, and then click back to assemble, you'll see we are now ready to assemble. So we're just going to click assemble, and then that's going to take a while. Alright, and we are done. And as you will see, we have a lot of things that are now unsaved. So let's just go ahead and save. These are all of the individual things that make metahumans work. Again, it's all about playing by Unreal's rules. Don't try to shortcut or get your way around this. This is just the way that it is. Alright, now all of that is saved, so we'll come back over here to our level and close out of our metahuman editor. So now if we go back to our content drawer, you'll now notice that we have a folder called Metahumans. That's why I named this one Metahuman Characters, just so not to get it confused. If you go into Metahumans, you're going to see, the name of the metahuman that you just made. And what you'll also see is that it comes with a blueprint actor ready to go. And so what we're going to be doing is really looking about how this is set up. So let's just drag this into our level over here somewhere. There. Alright, so let's go look at our metahuman. Alright, so there she is in all of her glory. So already looking great, textures look great, everything looks great. So let's go ahead and just click on it and do edit BP MHC example. That's going to open up a blueprint editor for us to actually see how this is set up. So in this, you'll see we have our metahuman here. And you'll see several different things here. The first is LOD sync. If you are wanting to use LOD sync for game optimization, like if you're planning on using this in a game, I would leave that in. If you're really just wanting to make sure that it appears correctly at all times, regardless of CPU cost or GPU cost, you can disable or remove this LED sync. I'm just going to leave it there for now. So you'll see the root here and then the body. Now the way that Unreal does this is that when you create your metahuman, it will remove any pieces of the body that are currently covered by clothing. So if you see, we have this skeletal mesh right here, which is MHC example outfits. And so if I just clear this for a second, you'll see that her torso does not exist. And so let's just go ahead and undo that real quick. But what you're going to need to do is if you want to swap out these meshes and you want, what I would recommend first doing is making a copy of this blueprint actor and then going from there. But for these purposes, we're just going to be looking at how this is set up. So for the body, you can see that it is attached to Metahumans MHC example body, and then it has this body mesh here. And so if I just put that there, that is going to, and since our transforms are all zeroed out, that will appear exactly where it is supposed to. Now, since this metahuman was made as one thing, the face is already linked up, everything is ready to go. Now, in grooms, this is where it gets a little interesting. So, for our character, She does not have a beard, so we can skip beard. For eyebrows, though, there are two big assets that you should be thinking about when it comes to grooms. There is a groom asset and a binding asset. So if we find this, we can see that this is eyebrows M slight arch, right? And so then this is our groom asset. And so that is basically going to tell Unreal what mesh we want it to use for our eyebrows. And there we go. So as you can see, eyebrows. The binding asset is a derivative of the face mesh and tells Unreal where to put that binding asset on the face. So if you're going to swap these out for other things, you need to make sure that you set the groom asset and the groom binding asset for the correct face mesh. Otherwise, you're going to get all sorts of weird strands and clipping and things that are not meant to be. So, last thing that we will do for these purposes is let's see here. So I'm just going to assign it the BP unarmed C. The nice thing is that the default third-person animation blueprint will work with metahumans, which is really nice. And then face, if you're wanting to do stuff with like live link or stuff like that, you can select image live link there, and then you now have control over the facial rig of your metahuman from your live link instance. For now, we're just going to leave it as none because it automatically inherits the animation blueprint from whatever is its parent. So in this case, a face is the child of the body. The body has the animation class in it, and so then that is great, and that all works. So now if we go back into our level, we can see that she is animating properly and doing everything that she's supposed to do. Now, here's the big thing. Okay, that's great. I have a metahuman in my level. What if I want the metahuman to be my character? That's a fantastic question. So we're going to go over here. What we're going to do is we're going to go over your world settings. And in our selected game mode, we're going to find our pawn. And our pawn is BP third person character. So if we open that up, go to the viewport right here, we can see that our mesh is currently just the simple Quinn. But what we are going to do is we are going to find this guy in our character blueprint here, and we're going to replicate this over here. Now there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. I am going to choose to move this over here because if you go into the event graph, you have all of this stuff that's for like looking around, jumping. You probably have code in your game on how to do all that stuff. And so we are just going to be focusing on how do we get our character to be this metahuman. So what we are going to do is if you go into the event graph here, you're going to see a couple of different things. This is for live link setup. I'm not really going to deal with that in this tutorial. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on that another time. But what I am going to do is I'm going to select the body. I'm going to find the body. And then I'm going to come over here to our BP third person character. I'm going to rename. Nope, sure can't. I'm going to insert this. So this is the new body. And then I'm going to go find the face and the grooms and the skeletal mesh. I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to paste this here. You'll find that it does not translate correctly. So what you'll need to do is find all of this stuff and make it a child of the mesh. And see, you can see our grooms went nuts. Everything is very upset. And so what we are going to be doing is we are going to find our mesh, which is still the parent. And metahumans are interesting because it comes with the transforms all zeroed out. What you'll need to do, though, is you'll recognize that this has a different transform of -89 and 270. So what we're just going to do is we are going to find each of these things. We're just going to actually start with the face. And we're going to do -89 and then 270. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. If we just hit 0, that will make it where it needs to be, because it is a child of this, because this is relative location, not world location. So let's go ahead and do the same for our clothes. We're just going to hit 0, and then do 0. As you can see, we're already cooking with gas. And so then if we hit 0, and then if we hit 0, and then 0, and 0, and then really for all of these we can just do 0, 0. So then our transforms are as they should be. But as you'll notice, all of our grooms are still messed up. That is because the grooms are currently children of the mesh and not children of the face. So if we just select our grooms, make them children of the face, same with the fuzz, the hair, and the mustache, make them children of the face. There we go. This all works great. As you can see, our clothes are not currently animating, and that is because it is not a child of the body. So if you make that a child of the body, that still did not work. Why? Let's see here. So if we assign the same thing here to this, that should, yeah, there we go. Here we go. All right. And so now our character is by default the metahuman. Now there's going to be an issue with this when we go to play, in that it's going to have to load all the shaders and stuff. Give it a sec, it'll come up. But as you can see, our character is now our metahuman, and that metahuman is over there as well. But when we try to run, our legs are all messed up. So what the heck with that? So with this, if you go find your animation blueprint, open this up, go to the event graph. What it is doing is the animation graph. So it is doing this IK trace, and ideally you should do some work in getting this to work. For now, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to bypass it completely and say don't worry about it. So now if we go back to hit play, that will make our feet work, which is great. You lose some of the intricacies of being able to step up on things. You can see you're floating there. But just to get it working, and now you have a metahuman as your main character. And so that is how you go from creating a metahuman to getting them set up as an actor blueprint to getting them to be your character. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you later.